All right, so where was I? That's right. So we're going to do some analyze some open-ended questions from a survey. Okay, so let's do that. Let's create an analysis of some. Okay, I'll just shut that down. So of a survey, basically an Excel spreadsheet which contains open-ended questions. This is what it looks like. It's a simple survey that was online. The university published it, so we do use it for training. It's about the only survey that isn't confidential or too confidential to use at all. So that's why we use it. So there's a column, there are demographic columns. So gender, age, the position, which is faculty, student, or staff. There's a rating of satisfaction score, a date, which is a month and year, and a comment. So it's fairly normal, simple sort of survey with an open-ended question. You could have multiple open-ended questions. So we could have 3 text responses, and it will still work. So that's the form that the survey is in, and it could be an Excel or any spreadsheet package. Do note that it has a header row. So you need the very first row in the spreadsheet to have the names of the columns in it. That has to be right at the top. And then beneath that, the usual thing is to have one respondent per row. So this is one person. This is their demographics. This is one of their quantitative answers. This is their qualitative answer. And then the next respondent, the next. So one respondent per row and one response per column, like one answer per column. So not unusual, but it's just worth pointing out that's the way it has to be structured to bring into Leximancer. So if it's in Excel, if it's in a database or somewhere else, then if you can get it into Excel and then save it out of Excel as a CSV file. So that's going to open it in Apple's numbers program. Well, let's open it in Excel just to show how it's done. Open it in Excel. Right, there it is. That's how it looks like in Excel. There's your header row, there's your rows, text column. So once it's in Excel, you need to do a save as, and you need to save it as this comma separated values, CSV. You can't load an Excel workbook straight into Leximancer. It won't do it. But CSV is one of the standard formats. So CSV, UTF-8, comma delimited. CSV stands for comma separated values. So if you just save it out as that, and it will put a CSV on the end of it, then that should load into Leximancer fairly easily. Okay, so you need to export it out of Excel as a CSV file before you continue. Okay, so let's create. So I've got my Leximancer open now. I've got a folder which I call training, and in here I'm going to create a new project, and I'm going to call it survey. Okay, so I've got a project open, a new one, so nothing's been run. So now we'll select the data, select documents, and we'll go looking for that CSV file. So it lives here for me. It's the IT feedback survey.csv. Just drag it across. There it is. So it just has to be in this list. and then the project will pull the text out of this file and process it. In case you have surveys in other languages, you need to tell it, you need to tell Leximancer that it is something other than English. So over here, there's a column called language, and you just select, like if it's Deutsch, German, Danish, Finnish, etc., Greek, you need to tell Leximancer what language it's in, because the default is English. What that mostly affects is the removal of what we call stop words, and stop words are words like the, and, is. So this directs Leximancer which sorts of stop words to remove. Okay, so we just hit OK to save that. Now, I'm going to run the second stage just straight away, generate concept seeds. Okay. Now, once that's done, we can have a look and see what Leximancer has extracted from the file. To do that, we look in here at the concept seeds editor. You see the little thing that looks like an editor, pencil and paper. Just have a look at it. This is what it looks like. And if you notice, there are 4 tabs here. The first tab called Auto Concepts. This is, if you think of it as, these are the keywords. Each of these items is the beginning point for a concept. It's actually a concept seed, is what we call them, because the system grows a concept around each of these. And so at this point, each one of these is like a keyword. So in this survey, in the open-ended text response, these are the top keywords in the responses, and each keyword has become the starting point for a concept. Okay. Now the second tab is called Auto Tags. Tags are more like quantitative variables. So in this case, if you remember in the spreadsheet, there was an age column, and it has certain values underneath that in the data. So for the age column, we've got a series or a bunch of these tags, one for each value. So there are some responses with age 21. So we now have a variable or a tag for age 21. Now, if you remember, there was a date, which was actually a month and a year, and you can see that each of those has been pulled in as a date column or a date variable. Gender, position, 3 of those. The satisfaction score, so it looks like it's a 1 to 7 scale, and you can see these have been created as tags, they're called, but they're like quantitative variables. Now, there's also, for every respondent, the first column had a respondent number in it. For every one of those, a tag has been created. That only works because there's less than 500 respondents. If we have more than 500 respondents, then it wouldn't create that. It would not bother to create a unique variable for every individual respondent. You know, once you got 1,000 people in a survey, it's not really a variable anymore. So those are extracted automatically because you put in a CSV file with the header row with the right structure. So we've got these tag variables, and we've got the concepts from the open-ended text. At the moment, there's nothing here, user-defined concepts or tags, because that's where you would start your own concepts. If you wanted to add some other ideas to the analysis, other variables, then this is where you'd put those. But for now, let's leave them alone and just hit cancel because I don't want any changes saved there. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to a new thing with Leximancer 5, which I forget as well, is so you saw there were tags here, like age and satisfaction. Now, I might want those to appear on the actual concept map. If you do, then there's another setting you have to change these days. It's in here under concept seed settings, and it's called mark tags as attributes. When this is set, and it is set by default, those tag variables will not appear on the map. They will appear in the quantitative, you'll see what I mean shortly. They'll appear on the right-hand side of the map in the quantitative lists of concepts and tags, but they won't actually appear on the map. The reason for that is so people can do literature reviews with like a whole lot of tags for different authors, different journals, maybe different universities. There's usually far too many to go on the map, and it makes it unusable and unwieldy. So this is here, this setting, so that you can do a literature review with lots of tags for authors and journal names, or maybe subject terms, and have them appear in the concept lists on the right of the map, but not on the map itself, because it's usually too many. But in this case, we don't have too many, and we can use them on the map. So I'm going to turn this off. So now we can actually put tags on the map. So I've turned off mark tags as attributes. Remember, there's always bubble help, and you can hover over that and see quickly what it does. So let's keep going. Just checking that is as we wanted it. That's all okay. So now we're going to run the machine learning, which creates the concept definitions. Remember, it's latent concept analysis. So I'm going to run generate thesaurus to build those concept definitions from those seed words. Now, so once you finish generate thesaurus and you're up to this point, you have a code book of concepts and tags that you can build a model from. So where do you build the model? Well, you build the model here under concept coding settings. This is where we select what to use. So we don't want to use all of these tags. There's too many of them, too many different types. It would not make sense. So there are, okay, this is the code book that you can see here. These are the ideas, the concepts that are available, or the names of them anyway. You can see these are all gray. Hopefully you can see they're all gray. That's because they're already active. They will already appear on the map. And you might wonder why. Well, this does it. This thing called all concepts. It's what we call a wildcard, but it selects all of these. And if I don't want all of those, I would go and remove that by selecting it and using this arrow to get rid of it. So now that none of these concepts will appear on the map. And by that means we could leave some out. If we didn't want some of these concepts on the map, we could just, if I didn't want need, let's say, I could deselect some and just put the remainder over here, and then I could, remove even more if I wanted to. So you can choose them as you wish, and it's showing you over here that the ones that you haven't activated are still blue, and the ones in gray are the ones that have been activated. So we could use these wildcards, but I'm happy with having all concepts here, so I'm just going to turn that on. Now, you might wonder, what does all discovered names do? Well, there are some proper nouns in this text. There's a name on course. It's actually the name of a learning support system, an online learning support system. Pretty sure that's what it is. This wasn't my university, the survey came from. I think TLC was another system. So I think the Teaching and Learning Center or something. So these are the proper nouns. And again, if you don't want those, you just take all discovered names out and then you won't get them. I might put on course and TLC in, but leave university out. Okay, so now the question was, how do I choose what tags are going to be in the model? So, well, I need to do it. Now, note that by default, tags are not included in this list. So if I just run it through, none of these tags would have been in the model. I have to go and put them in this list. So let's go and, well, we can choose well, I usually choose satisfaction score, so I'm going to change things and I'll put the position there this time. So I selected the tag variables I wanted on the map and in the categorical, in the charts, and I put them over here in the mapping concepts list. So now they will appear. So this controls what concepts and what tags are used to code the data and appear in the model. So if we hit OK now, and then generate those results, let's have a look. Okay, so just give myself a bit more room. It's a bit bigger. So over here on the right, if I have a look at the frequency ranking, so the second tab called concepts, go in there and look at the rank concept list. I can see this is the ranking of, so how many text segments were coded with each of the concept codes. So computers coded in 21, for example. And of course, we could look at that and see all 21 of those. And if I click here, I could see the text. So this comment mentions computer. We can also see the other demographics, the other variables from the spreadsheet are here. Radio satisfaction, position, age, etc. So this is the frequency ranking of concepts. Down the bottom, I can see here are those tags. So when I said that the tags would appear, if I put them in the mapping concepts list, the tags will appear on the right-hand side, and this is where they would appear. So faculty, student, staff. I can see how many comments, how many pieces of text came from each of those. So the faculty produced more text than anyone else. So names, here are those name-like concepts, here are the word-like concepts, and here are the tags. Now, for each one of these, I can click on the name of it, and I can see what it's related to. So you might ask, what concepts are the faculty members mentioning in their open-enders? So if I click on faculty, that will show me those concepts that are most likely to occur in faculty. So for example, if someone mentions teaching, there's a 100% chance they're from faculty. So you can see that ranking here by likelihood. If you want to see what do faculty members say about classrooms, so this is, we've selected faculty. These are the related concepts. And you can tell that because at the top, it shows you what you selected. And now we can see there are co-count statistics. So this means faculty and classrooms appear together in 7 text locations. And if I click on that 7, I can see them. So these are faculty members talking about classroom IT in this case. So I can read through all of those. Let's go back to the ranked view. Remember that there's a button here which goes back to the ranked view. So I can do it the other way around. I can say, okay, where's classrooms? If I click on classrooms and select that, if I scroll down, I can see that that this is the ranking of the categories, the segments of the population that mention classrooms. So of all faculty members, 7% mentioned classroom. Of all staff members, 4% mentioned classroom, and student, only 2%. But you can see that the count is still the same. We still have that 7 count for the co-occurrences. So that's kind of navigating concept co-occurrence. This is a semantic network, as I kind of point out at the start. So these are the links in your semantic network. Here's a link from classrooms to equipment. If I wanted to see where people talk about classroom and equipment at the same time, I can click on 3, classrooms and computers. So it's a network with concepts in it. And also these tag variables, these demographic variables are also in the network. Now on the left-hand side, because we unticked that special box that I showed you how to do, these tags also appear on the map. So we can kind of see by proximity, we can see what concepts, what themes faculty deal with more than anyone else. So here's faculty, and they're talking about, as we saw over here on the right, classrooms and teaching technology. And so there's an idea, and it's something that we could confirm in the text. So faculty is talking about technology. Well, we could look at that. I've selected faculty. Where are they talking about technology? Here, there are 5 locations. Okay, so yes, these are faculty members. If you don't believe me, let's have a look at this one. Yes, they're a faculty position, and they're talking about technology. So this is a kind of a visual way of it's a way of getting a satellite view, like a view from space of the concept space. And so staff, what are they talking about more than anything else? Service, information, slow, things being slow. Students, well, they seem to be more interested in library access, also home, open, lab, classes. Now we might not want to guess. It's never a good idea to guess. So what are students talking about? Home. So let's go down and have a look at that. I've selected student. Here's home. What are they talking about there? So it looks like it's IT access from home. So again, there's that sense-making process of the map suggests patterns of information usage, patterns of concept usage by, in this case, the different segments of your survey. And then you can confirm those by drilling down into the actual text. So you should never take on trust what does the concept map mean? You shouldn't take that on trust. You should always check by drilling down. So when staff talk about service, well, what are they actually talking about? And so long as you confirm the meaning of these relationships, these themes in the text, this is your support. This validates the construct that the staff are interested in service. The texts that mention that support it, not the Leximancer algorithms, not because Leximancer said so. There's a reason we created a transparent model that you can drill right through to the data, and that's so that you can validate it in the data and not have to spend a whole lot of time convincing someone that the algorithms in Leximancer are bulletproof. I mean, we have validated them in the literature, and there's on our website. If we just quickly go there, now where is that? If we go to the leximancer.com website and go to science, you'll see that we have validated the literature. This was a behavior research methods paper, which does go through and does a method of validation, which is quite quantitative, and it's actually cross-validation is mostly what we do. But we also demonstrate that Leximancer's methods are grounded in best practice, and yeah. So we're not afraid of the validation question, but in the end, if the data supports, so these patterns are hypotheses, and the hypothesis that the staff are focusing on service and information, well, you can test that in the data, and once you show that there is definitely a bunch of evidence for that supporting that potentially stands by itself. It stands alone as validation. So yeah, I don't think people should be afraid of the validation question, but the fact it's grounded the data is, I think, the most important thing. So what we'll do now is to show how that would work. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this would be the same survey because most of them really are too confidential to show. But what I did was I created a version of this which simply had 2 text columns. Let's hope it does anyway. Yeah, there we go. So it's the same text, so there's not going to be any great insights, but it does show you how to deal with 2 text columns. So let's load this one instead. So if I go back to my survey, documents, get rid of this one, and let's go and find text data. Tables. 2 columns. So this has 2 text columns in it. Now remember, so that's off. And if I hit generate concept seeds, now let's have a look again into concept seeds editor. These are going to be the same because it's the same text. But if we go to auto tags now, looks pretty much the same as we had before, except can you see these? There's this tag variable called column. So one of these is generated for every text column you have. So this is my first text column, feedback comments. The second one is called second comments. So this is a way to grab hold of and indicate which text column it came from. So now I'm going to run the next stage. And so if I wanted to, I could then, and I've got my position variable on there, but I could also, so there are 2 things I could do. I could put these on the map to indicate graphically which response the concepts came from. So let's look at that. Now, you're not going to have, there's not going to be any sense here because the text is identical from both columns because I just duplicated the column. But you can see you could select which question. Was it the second question, the first question? You can see how much they correlate with the concepts and also with the other tags. So, if this question was answered more by students than staff, then you would see that in these correlation counts here. So that's the way where you can indicate, which question was which on the map and in the charts. More than that, if you go back to concept coding settings, instead of doing that, what we could do is using over here, kill concepts and required concepts. Now, you need to know what you're doing if you're going to use these, because these will filter out whole large amounts of your text if you put anything in here. So required concepts, what does that mean? Well, I'll show you. Column, second comment. So if I put this variable here, the second comment, a bit wider. If I put this as a required concept, that means that the only text that will be included in the model must have been coded with this, must have come from the second comments column. If it didn't come from the second comments column, it won't be coded at all. It won't appear in the model. Kill concepts the reverse. So, for example, the other way I could do this is I could go to kill concepts and say, well, if it came from the first column, then kill it. Don't use that comment at all. So this is a very strong filter. It filters out whole chunks, whole segments of text. So if the text matches this, if it was from feedback comments, then it will be removed from the model and the analysis. Sometimes it's useful to kill a few things. You know, well, if you're doing a literature review, it can be useful to use this to suppress bibliographic content. I've addressed that in previous webinars. I'm going to use a required one for this. So in required, I'm going to put second comment and just insist that I'm only going to code and model the answers to the second comments, and it will ignore the others. So then instead of putting the two on the map, what we've done is we've filtered out all the text from one of them so that this model is only built from text from the other one of the text columns. So they're the two different ways you can use that. All right.